evening everybody, welcome to the Planning and Highways meeting today, 12th of November. Just a few housekeeping rules. In case of a fire, which we hope there will not be one, leave the building as the way you came in, down the stairs. If that way is blocked, you can access the rear entrance just behind you, but be careful as you access the stairs and meet into the car park down below. Under no circumstances use the lift, but the lobby where the lift is a fire-free, secure place. Can I remind everyone to put their mobiles on silent or turned off, please? Item 1 on the agenda, apologies for absence of declaration of substitute members. Apologies for absence. Item 2, disclosure of interest. To deal with any disclosure by members of any disclosable pecuniary interests and interests other than pecuniary interest as defined under the Seaford Town Council Code of Conduct and Localism Act 2011 in relation to matters on the agenda.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, item 4, LW 150802, only as an indirect, as a employee list scheme council, only indirectly. Yep.
Thank you. Item 3, public participation. In the court.
Sorry, apologies there. I meant 150749. Sorry, as employee visit scheme council.
Item 3, public participation. In accordance with Standing Order 3 and Seaford Town Council policy, members of the public will be entitled to speak on general issues concerning this committee on non-planning applications matters at this point. People wishing to speak on planning applications may do so immediately before each planning application. Any members of the public like to speak at this point on non-planning applications? No? Thank you. Planning applications, weekend in the 16th of October. LW/15/0682 to Sutton Avenue. Any members of the public like to comment on this application? I open it to the committee. Councillor.
I looked at this one carefully, Chair, and went and had a look at the property. I can see no reason to object to this. It's a large garden and it's sharing some of the facilities, so it seems to be fit for purpose.
Was that on the seconder? Councillor Latham? And can I have a show of hands with no objection, please? Unanimous. Thank you. LW/15/0749, 33 Grosvenor Road. Any members of the public like to comment on this application? Thank you, sir. Can I remind, you've got 4 minutes. If members of the public don't sort of try and repeat what one before has already said. So can I have your name and address, please, sir?
Yes, David Starr, 29 Grosvenor Road. Okay. Councillors, I wish to object to the additional further extension planned for 33 Grosvenor Road, which is for purely business purposes. The property has already been extended at other times, again for commercial reasons. Although it appears that the councils were not, neither this council nor this district council, were aware of the business being carried on at the property until this application was made. The owner's agent, in her statement, confirms that the building is being used as a foster home for a number, unnamed, of disabled children, and also as a foster care home for up to 2 young couples who may be as young as 14 and also have social, addiction, money or other problems, together with their babies. This is the building as it now stands. Obviously, the proposed extension will allow for more clients to be housed there. And although already being a multi-occupancy business, the building is still listed as a single dwelling in the records. The residents have also serious and well-founded concerns that there are long-term plans to extend even further on the southwest side. The fact that the current two-storey extension would, if agreed, be built on an earlier single-storey extension obviously means that the foundations to that earlier extension were built with a further substantial extension in mind. Presumably, the larger the number of clients, the more economic advantage to the owners, but at the expense of the further visual and other noise, traffic intrusion into the life of immediate neighbours and other residents. Also, of course, completely at odds with the residential nature of the rest of the road. Residents therefore wish to see the councils reject this proposal and, now that they are in possession of all the facts regarding this property, review the whole situation. Residents do not wish to fall out with owners, but say that enough is enough. Residents of this quiet residential road want it to stay just that, a quiet residential road, and look to their elected members and the councils to ensure that that is the case, and it remains so. Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Oh, my name is, good evening, my name is David Earl. I live at 31 Grosvenor Road. I strongly object to this new development, because once you give your permission for this new development, it gives him the partial right to he gets many people in there as he wants to get in, because you give your permission to accept the two that he's put in this proposal. I've lived next door for 9 years in purgatory. I've got a woman living with me who's very ill now with distress. She can't sleep at night. She's in a hallowed state, and I brought her there for a peaceful life, and I feel very guilty about it. Now, I do things for charity. I love kids, and I give to children in need. I'm on the square. I've done everything legal. I paid for my property. I saved. I worked hard, and my life seems to be totally destroyed by that man. I know Tony. He took cement mixers off me. He took paint off me. He took a load of things. I helped him. Even took him, welcomed him to Seaford. Went to the pub with him. Had a drink with him. And he's totally lied to me all round. When he first got planning permission, he wanted to double the size, and he wanted to put a veranda all the way around it. Now he knew everybody was going to object to the veranda for people to walk round. But what we took our eye off the ball was that it was going to be twice the size of the ordinary residential Jordan house that it was. Now, my ex-wife lived in that house, and the family's been in that house for 60 years. Joy, who I lived with for 10 years next to me, I've never fell out with anybody in my life. I can honestly tell you. I've been good to people, I've helped them, and I'm in the lodge, and I give to charity, and I don't think I deserve this. And I'm asking you, as ordinary people, to throw this one out, because it's just not on. And I'd like to know who's bankrolling this. You know, because the more people you get in there, you go and you could get another mortgage. You know that, and I know that. Now, I want to know where it's coming from. And if my taxes are paying for the suffering that I'm having, I don't want to wear it.
Thank you.
I'm not very good at speaking, and I'm sorry for getting emotional about it. But I've had to suffer it for 9 years.
We appreciate your comments, and this committee will...
But it's, I've been seeing people going in there. I wouldn't know whether there's anybody breaking in there. I've been people sitting outside drinking, smoking. I've had my car damaged, cars pushed into each other down the road. I've had parties in the back garden to 4 o'clock in the morning.
This committee will have to...
Oh no, you can't listen to that. Okay, yeah, all right. Now I've been told that I can't say anything. All right, yeah, I'm sorry about that. I'll let my emotions get. I disregard what I said on that.
Yeah,
but going through the thing, it's not in keeping with the area on the item 1, and I've just got to put my glasses on because I'm getting old. And whether the appearance and the new size of the structure is in keeping with the neighbourhood, no, it's not. Whether the external alteration and existing buildings are in character, no, it's not. I mean, it was a lovely Georgian 3-4 bedroom house. Now, he paid 2.8 for it. He could have made 150 grand and walked away. He didn't want to make that money. So what was his intentions? Was it to make a nursing home there? Was it made to a rehabilitation centre? We've already got one that we paid £3.5 million for, up for a road.
I'm afraid I have to bring you to a close
Oh,
because
okay.
your 4 minutes is up. Thank
All
you
right,
very
sorry
much.
for that. Sorry to
Thank you.
injure you.
Thank you. Who was first?
Fine, carry on, please.
No?
I don't want to fall out with neighbours, but you can clearly see there's an issue here. Would you like to speak? This is the one who actually lives next door to me, not the other side.
Who's going first? Sorry.
Please go.
No, you
Okay, can
go.
you have your name and address,
Is,
please?
right, my name is Tony Madigan. Fine. This gentleman said I've made money on the house. So what? It's never going to be mine. The money is going to be to my children, whatever. We do foster. This lady's been round my house. It's only adequate for 3 kids. I've got a 15-month, a 12-year-old. Yes, they've had alcohol problems from their parents. They've had drug problems from their parents. It's not their fault. That's why we're doing this. It's not him sitting there saying his wife's ill. That's because she's out there every dinner time having a drink.
No,
So I don't want to be slagging them down, but this is what
drove
it's
it to
about.
It's your fault.
Right.
Have some order,
Anyway,
please. Please do not.
I would like to build an extension. Yes, I would. Not to make more money, it's to be able to take mother and babies to make sure that they're doing what they should be doing, as in, if they can't look after the children. That's why I want the bathroom upstairs. If they're not washing the kids, they're not feeding them, they're not going to get their houses. I've already got one girl with us who's going for adoption. This is because her mum couldn't handle the routine of being in the house, being monitored. Fine, yes, I admit I want to build an extension. I could build an extension on the other side. It's more easier to build that, but I'm not even looking at it. I don't want to block any light.
You know, have that in writing.
Eh?
Have that in writing.
Yeah, I don't want to build your side.
But I can write it.
Excuse
It's
me.
never going to be.
Excuse me.
Yeah, you could.
Can I have the
If
next
I don't
speaker,
get this,
please?
if I do, I'll be on your side.
Can I have next speaker, please?
Please.
Right, number 35 is my father-in-law's property. Will you allow me to speak on his behalf? He's in hospital. Thank you. When the previous planning consent was given, it was given under instructions that the extension on the side of Mr. Madigan's property facing our property would be a single extension, single height extension, so that it wouldn't become overbearing. This is in the planning consent from the previous planning application, and it's this single extension that he now wants to make into 3 stories, which is going to completely overshadow our property. He was also expressly refused any windows in the elevation facing our property, and in recent months he's inserted a window into there and he's included it into the current plans,
Frost.
which is obviously
Frost glass.
He said a window of any sort, which is obviously he's sneaking it in to get it normalised in the plans so that there'll be no future problems with this. So he's contravened the previous plans on at least 2 points.
Can I say it?
The third point is that why build a 3rd floor story just to put an ensuite bathroom in? He's got special needs, disabled children, he's got 12-year-old children with babies. If they get trapped, if they get forced upwards because of fire on lower floors into this 3rd story ensuite, there is no means of fire escape.
I've got 5
It's a
doors, yeah.
You've got 5 doors, but how do they get out of a
Because
3rd
we've done a
story?
plan. I couldn't even do that.
So just trap them. Now
No.
you aren't going to be able to save them.
Can you speak through the chair?
Yes.
It's not-
So these children will be trapped in this 3rd story. The whole point of the 3rd story, he's building an expensive 3rd story with just an ensuite bathroom in. There's plenty of room on the 2nd floor. He's got bathrooms larger than most of my house. He can rejig the 2nd floor and put an ensuite in there. But no, he's going to put this 3rd story on, he's going to put an ensuite on, and then the plan is later on, obviously, he's going to build forward and make it entirely 3-story and put even more children into it. That's the obvious plan. There's no other reason for putting a 3rd story just with an ensuite in it. And it's currently a fire trap. It'll be absolutely lethal. There's no means of fire escape. They're disabled children, they're 12-year-old, 14-year-old girls with babies. If they get trapped in there, that's it, they're done for.
Thank you, sir.
Sorry,
Your 4
no,
minutes
just mention-
is now up.
We've never had a 12-year-old girl
14-year-old.
or 14-year-old with babies.
It says in your, it says in this
30-year-old.
14-year-old.
I'm sorry, is
Oh.
there anybody else who'd like to speak? Thank you.
I've got a copy of Rosemary Actual, number 25.
Thank you.
I've got a copy here of the design and access statement dated the 7th of September by Magdalena Lager, who appears to be the architect. She explains the aims or the reason for putting this extension on, which, I mean, I would agree with everybody else. The house has been extended greatly, but I'm a little bit puzzled. There's no mention of any assessment by Lewes District Council. I do wonder how two people, even if they're fully fit, can cope with, if what they say here is so, and the problems of these people, the young girls, are intense, as well as babies, how on earth can two people in a home cope with disabled people, disturbed, or how can I put it, distressed young mothers of 13, 14 with babies as well? So how can a couple, however competent they are, cope with that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? Because let's face it, babies are 7 days a week.
I've been there 3 years already.
Well, you've been running it for 3 years then.
It's not a business.
You just admitted
So-
it.
Sorry,
It's
can
not-
we stop?
It's not a business.
I'm just thinking of the pure practicalities. I'm a mother, got grandchildren. What about holidays? What about staff? Will they take on extra staff, which will then contribute to the traffic in the road, etc., etc.? And also, will it be fully monitored and controlled
Yeah.
by the council?
Yeah.
And as the gentleman here said about fire regulations, any other regulations that come into force, I don't know. I don't know anything about this. But it seems to me it's purely a commercial venture in a residential street.
Thank you.
I must mention that it's right butting up to a substation, and that substation, if that blows, will blow half his health bits.
Thank you. Well, all members have read the plans.
Yeah,
and
you've
we
read the
are
maps,
aware.
yeah.
Thank you.
There's only 3 inches
Any
between
more
it.
from the public? Thank you. So I open it to the committee. Councillor Lyons.
It was of great concern to me that we're sitting here as a planning committee and we're hearing an awful lot of non-material objections. We're here to look at a planning application and to look at those building plans. We're not here to talk about changing use or inspection of facilities or links with social services or any of those things at all. We are a planning committee and we need to just look, I think, objectively at the plans. I understand there's 4 bedrooms on that floor at the moment and there will remain 4 bedrooms, one of them extended, and there'll be a bathroom. What we've got to do is actually look at those plans and see whether we think they're suitable. I'm sure people in the Building Regulations Department will look at things like fire escapes or any of those issues that might come up, and that's probably something we can't necessarily deal with tonight. I would just say, looking at the plans, the footprint of the building is not getting any bigger. It is getting taller, and that may be an issue. But I do think, as a committee, we need to leave aside a lot of these other things. Obviously, neighbours have got concerns, but they're not necessarily to do with the planning for this.
Well, you have it living next to you then, and see how you feel.
I'm sorry.
It's all right,
had
you
your
spouting
chance
up
to
about
speak.
that.
I have to have silence
Yeah, sorry about
while
that.
the committee is debating this application. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor. Yes, we are here to view the application, although we can look at various grounds on the application. So just bear that in mind. Councillor Latham.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Following on from Councillor Lowe's comment just now with regard to the material and physical planning that we're here to consider. I ran off the Lewis District Council website the 10 items that we should consider, or individuals should consider when seeking planning permission. And there are 10 stab points, in fact. The first is whether a proposed use is a suitable one for the area. Now, as a planning committee, I know over the years we've been told to focus specifically on the building application per se, but here it is in black and white from Lewis District Council. Point number 1: whether a proposed use is a suitable one for the area. And bearing in mind what's been said this evening, I would like to suggest or explore that a change of use perhaps should be applied for here. We're talking about a commercial enterprise rather than a private residential dwelling, and so there is an issue there. The fifth point is whether there will be an increase in noise and disturbance. And again, from what's been said this evening, I don't see how this application can go through allowing the use that's intended without there being an increase in noise and disturbance. And I think we need to consider very seriously the fact that the quality of life of individuals living in this area could deteriorate as a result of this application going through. And I think we need to look into this very seriously before approving it. Thank you.
Any other members want to make comments on this application?
Can I just come back here? I don't know whether we have got evidence that abandoning words around, whether it is a business, it's a dwelling, it's a residential dwelling, and people are residing in it, whether they be foster or people with in social care. I mean, obviously, people who are fosterers are paid. Whether that makes them a commercial business, I'm not convinced of that at all. And also, we have heard about noise and disturbance, but I have to say, really at this point, is that just hearsay? Anyone can come along and say, well, I'm being disturbed, or there's a lot of noise. I still come back to that we need to just look at the plans.
As you've already spoken, Councillor Nathan, I'll go to Councillor Hunland, who hasn't spoken yet.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I'm just a little bit concerned maybe about the height of the extension more than the use so much. So I think if there were amendments, I'd be a bit more happier. But I know that the case with businesses in people's homes. I mean, lots of people do work self-employed, so you could argue that our businesses do take place. Fostering is in great demand, of course, isn't it? Adoptions generally, throughout not just this area, but nationally. But I think it's more of the design I'm not too happy with, really, the actual how it's going to be in the current situation. I think it's just a bit too high for the particular property.
Okay. So, are you going to propose?
Myself? No, I'm actually abstaining.
Yes,
I'm going to abstain because I'm a county council employee, so I'm going to abstain anyway myself.
So, Councillor Nathan?
I was just going to follow up from Councillor Lower with regard to whether or not this is a business. If the gentleman is paid to look after the residents, then it is a business, and presumably books are kept and returns to the relevant authorities are made. So there's no doubt that it is actually a business and would be classified as such. But that aside, coming back to the material issues, I think there is an issue regarding overdevelopment, and I would agree with Councillor Honeyman. Certainly, I've looked at the plans, I've looked at the building, and it seems to me that it's got to the stage now where there are grounds to object on overdevelopment and overshadowing the loan, let alone the emotive issues that we've been talking about. And so I'd like to propose that we object to the application on the grounds of overdevelopment, overshadowing, loss of privacy, and given that Lewis District Council have actually raised these or defined these issues as bona fide issues to consider, we perhaps should also mention that the use is not considered to be suitable for the area, and there is the potential for considerable increased noise and disturbance to local residents.
So find a seconder.
No, I would second that motion.
Would you like to speak on it?
No, I was really going to make the point that Councillor Latham has made, that the appearance and size of the modified structure will be out of keeping with the rest of the neighbourhood.
Anybody else like to speak on this? No? So we'll take it to the vote on objecting on overdevelopment, loss of privacy, overshadowing, not considered suitable to the area.
As in point one.
Potential for increased noise and disturbance.
Okay. Okay, so can I have a show of hands, please? Of objection on those grounds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those against? 2. And abstentions? Okay. Well, that carries because of objections. There's only 2 objecting against. Okay, so that carries that we object on those grounds. Thank you. LW/15/0802 to Friston Close. Any members of the public like to comment on this application? Open to the committee. Councillor Latham.
No objection, Madam Chairman.
Just that one seconder. Councillor Argent. And all those in favour of no objection. Unanimous. Planning applications weekend on the 23rd of October. There was no applications for Seaford. So we go on to planning applications weekend ending the 30th of October. LW/15/0774 14 Purdis Road. Any members of the public like to comment on this application? Open to the committee. Councillor Hamlin.
I mean, I didn't really mind it. I just didn't like the window change effect. I mean, that's just a personal thing.
Proposing?
No, not really. No, because I'm not sure if I like the window change.
Anybody else like to comment on this application? Can I have somebody to propose an
Objection.
Thank you. And is that by the seconder? Thank you. And a show of hands, no objection. Thank you. LW/15/0810 37 Sherwood Road. Any members of the public like to comment on this application? Open to the committee. Councillor Lower.
I did have a look at this property and it's very much in keeping with its neighbours, so no objection.
Is that fine, secretary? Councillor Latham. And a show of hands, no objection. Thank you. LW/15/0815 9 Walmer Road. Any members of the public like to comment on this application? Open to the committee.
No objection.
Councillor King, sorry?
No objection.
And does that find a second? Yes. Can I have a show of hands of no objection? Those against? Abstention? Thank you.
The non-standing class.
LW/15/0822 29 Grosvenor Road. Any members of the public like to comment on this application? Open to the committee. Councillor Latham.
No objection, Madam Chairman.
Seconder. And can I have a show of hands of no objection? Thank you. Tree work applications, TW/15/0091/TCA 30 Blatchington Hill. Any members of the public like to comment on this application? Open to the committee. Comment? Anybody want to make comments on this?
The application makes it, or states that it's routine maintenance, and I would think with Landy, yes, they do want reducing in height.
So you're raising no objection?
No.
That's the second objection.
Thank you. Now can I show hands for objection? Yes, thank you. TW/15/0087/TPO 2 Barnhouse Farm Road. Any members of the public like to comment on this application? Open to the committee. Councillor Worcester.
Yeah, I find this rather strange actually, because we approved this exact same request last month at our last meeting, and it was rejected by Lewis District Council tree expert. And here we have exactly the same proposal to reduce the top part of the tree by 5%. So I don't see that, having seen it rejected by the tree expert, we can approve it. I think we could only say that we accept it with the suggestion of the tree expert being followed. I don't quite know the best words to put that into, but
it is word for word on the, if you look at page 5 of your agenda, third item down, you'll see our response and then what the tree officer, LDC's decision. It's a different number, but as Councillor Worcester has pointed out, the wording is exactly the same. So, yeah. Which seems, you know, a bit confusing, but as Councillor Worcester said, maybe we can point that out, and it's proposing that we go along with the recommendation of the tree officer. So does that find a seconder? Yeah.
Can I just say so one?
Yeah.
It's not a different tree, is it? It's not a different different set. No.
No.
Okay, that's fine.
And can I have a show of hands, please? It's unanimous. Thank you. TW/15/0095/TPO 3 Mark Close, Seaford. Any members of the public like to comment on this application? Open to the committee. Would you like to put a proposal?
no objection.
Can I have a seconder? Thank you. Show of hands, no objection. Thank you. Item 5 of your agenda, update report, and you are asked to note the contents of the report. Noted? Thank you very much to everybody, and